Hey, this is Xavier Dersma, and you're listening to the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast.
Merrett comes away, the inspired leader, off to Durham. He must score. He will score. Caldwell, Perkins, Gresham. Can he get in on the act? A 55-metre Bombers bomb. Long ball to half forward here for Essendon. There's the future right there.
We really do need to change that opening. Welcome back to the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast. This is going to be a biggie. The Lunchtime Catch Up podcast is two blokes that have known each other forever, who catch up most days in the Melbourne CBD for lunch to talk everything Essendon Footy Club. My name is Grant, and with me is Scott.
Hello everyone. It was literally the trade period's just closed, so this is a very fresh take. This is one of those shows that I may think differently in 3 days' time. So please allow me that grace, but it has to be, you know, we on our Patreon show, we do instant reaction game shows. This is instant
trade reaction.
Yeah. I look, everyone's going to have a very different opinion on this. So I think Essendon fans are just going to have to chill if other fans have varying opinions. That's just can I just say that first and foremost, because there's different emotion around Captain Merrett, what he's done. You're going to have 50% wanting him gone, 50% don't like the deal, stand tough. And I'm not going to cut anyone down either way, because it's how you feel and your emotion. You have every right to feel that way. So,
yep.
And look, we'll probably talk, myself and Grant, we may have different opinions, but that's just because it's just different perspectives and just different things. So, look, I must admit, when it was 7:30 and the deal wasn't done, I mostly felt flat. That's just my personal. I wasn't overly puffing my chest or anything like that. I felt quite flat, and I'm trying to say this in the best possible way. I understand a lot of parts to why it didn't go through, but I also felt I was in the camp of I would rather Merrett go and be traded if for a good deal, and that's obviously a very big quotation mark, a good deal. And that's going to be probably a little bit of the topic of discussion. But I was more thinking this is an opportunity to reset culture, reset building a team for the future in 4 or 5 years, adding young talent. So I'll just be honest, that was where I was at. And I'm a bit flat that didn't happen, I'll be honest. I felt like I wanted Essendon to pursue that hard. Now, they may have, so no one knows really what happened behind the scenes. And obviously, we pressured them for a 2027 first-round pick. So I don't mind the actual tactic of what they were after, because obviously they're trying to get the best deal for their captain. But my overarching feeling still is that I feel like it's a missed opportunity, and it feels like a bit of a pause moment for me, for the club, because it feels like, does 2026 be a managed year, like as managing relationships, trying to work trying to work out where the club's at? Because, you know, let's face it, 2 months ago, Mason Redmond, Nick Martin's, I won't say potting the captain, but close to, and which Merrett which Merrett was furious on. And this is real. They're in the leadership group, and Merrett's coming back to this. And this is, you know, I do have a fear. I have to be honest and say I do have a fear as a fan about the implications of that, what the culture is in the off season. Obviously, Merrett sounds like from the age, Merrett rang Welsh 30 or 40 minutes before the close of trade period, pleading to go. and it first feels very awkward. This is your captain, your 6-time best and fairest captain, who's highly decorated, 12 years, one of the comp's best players, pleading to leave, and it's very awkward feeling now that it hasn't. But here's the other side to that is...
But does Merrett know why it didn't? Does Merrett know why? Do you think Merrett understands why it didn't happen?
I think you would think the Essendon Football Club put the parameters of what a deal would look like if it was ever acceptable, and then he would know that deal didn't eventuate.
But also, he's got to know, and this will form part of our discussion tonight, is that when Hawthorn and he got together, right, and Sam Mitchell got together at whatever point, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, halfway through last season, whatever it was, and they said, "You want to come over?" And Merrett said, "Yeah, all right, let's go." Sam Mitchell at that point should have said to Zach Merrett, "Mate, I don't know how the hell we can get it done. I don't know how we get it done. We have pick 10, and that ain't enough for you, dude." So Zach would have had to have known that there would have had to be, for a contracted top 20, top 15 AFL footballer in this league, he would have to have known that 10, 20, 22, and then, oh, by the way, chucking in a third rounder going back the other direction was never going to get it done for him. It would have got it done for Eliza Sardis or some other player, but not Zach Merrett, not our best player, not our 6 times Coleman medalist, and not a top 20 player in the AFL.
Crichton medalist. Coleman medalist. No.
Coleman, he probably could have won the Coleman if he tried. But Crichton medalist. So my point is that I know it's awkward, and I know it's going to be real bad next year, right? But I genuinely hope that Zach Merrett understands that Hawthorn did not have the required picks and draft and ability to get him. Now, the Essendon Football Club would love to go down to Geelong and say, "We want Jeremy Cameron." And even if we got Jeremy Cameron to say he'd like to go to Essendon, we couldn't get that done for all the money in the world, right? There is not enough draft picks that we own and or players that we could give to get Jeremy Cameron out of Geelong. So Hawthorn were never in the race. And again, I ask why Hawthorn didn't go and talk to Melbourne about their draft picks, go and talk to West Coast, North and Richmond, and give up half of Glenferrie Oval if they have to get a pick in the top 10. And why the hell, if we offered a pick, we wanted a first round pick in 27, did they not do it? So I appreciate where you're coming from, what you're saying about it's going to be awkward next year. And I know Zach is probably feeling bad and he begged Welshie to leave, but Zach's got to understand that he was asking for something that Hawthorn could not deliver. Well, he knew that.
Yeah. The frustration part is because honestly, Hawthorn don't look good in this at all because
I hope they don't.
Because Sam Mitchell, let's be honest, Sam Mitchell has courted Harley Reid at the start of the year. He's courted Oscar Allen and he's courted Zach Merrett, and he's got 0 for 3.
Yep. Because what the hell are they going to offer West Coast Eagles for Harley Reid?
Well, to me, it's the position from them from the get-go that basically a non-starting 22 player is available. And even I have to say it, but the arrogance of even saying Cam McKenzie is not, who's played 10 VFL games this year. Yeah, he's 21, but okay, well, we're off to a really bad start here because
who the hell do you think you are? Who does Hawthorn think they are? That they're just going to walk in and say, "We give you some VFL kid that can't get a game." You're dictating terms to us?
Well,
we're
the
guys with the asset.
Look, so if there wasn't the controversy and Merrett wasn't a captain and all that sort of stuff, right? I hand on heart, I'm not too far away from taking a deal close to that. I think it still needed to be slightly better, but I'm not too far away taking that
I'm with you. I'm with you. That was close.
Yeah. To rebuild a club. Because I do fear, I'm going to say something controversial, but it's very quick, but this is a very defining moment for Andrew Welsh already, because it's a massive sliding doors moment that can go either way quite dramatically. Because
there's going to be an element that's going to be real bad next year. No matter how good it can try and make out and how professional Zach Merrett is, he has just made a decision that is going to make a good component of next year just poo, just no good at all.
Yeah, he'll still be let's face it, he'll still be professional on the field. Like,
of course,
that's his attitude. He loves footy, but she would need to bank on in the next 1 to 2 years a dramatic improvement on field that Merrett gets on board with, and then suddenly we're moving up the chain very faster than we think maybe internally. Because if it doesn't happen, if it's 3 years and we're still nowhere, then we've lost that trade big time.
Mate, but you're right. I mean, we have to do that. I don't see Zach Merrett at our club at the end of next season. Right, I genuinely hope, and this is Welshie, right?
I agree. Yeah.
If Welshie, if you're listening, mate, big brass ones. Welshie, you got big brass ones, mate.
He backed up his Channel 9 interview, didn't he? I mean,
he did, mate. And I tell you what, that will, like you said, it's going to define you, Welshie. And so far, mate, from a supporter's point of view, you said something, and you bloody well did it, right? For better or worse, you've done it. Right. And also, too, you put 10, 20, and 22 and some poxy third round coming back and a VFL player in the cold light of day on a blank piece of paper, and then you put Zach Merrett's name next to it. It doesn't add up. So, Welshie, well done, mate. But I genuinely hope Matt Rosa, and he's a smart operator, and so is Vozzo for that matter, and Welshie clearly has large brass ones. They would have been sat in the meeting room or at the hangar trying to figure out what happens at the end of next year. Now, have we had chats with, I don't know, because clearly Hawthorn couldn't get it done. I mean, if I hear word or whinge one come out of Zach Merrett's manager's mouth, I may lose it. Because, mate, you couldn't get it done. Right? You couldn't get it done because I don't know if you rang West Coast or you didn't ring West Coast or Richmond or North or whatever the hell it was, but yourself couldn't get it done, right?
Yeah, and you nominated just one club. You wouldn't be open to anything else, which hamstrings obviously a club, right? It's just, there you go. It's the reality. It's just
so what I'm saying is that I hope Rosa and Vozzo and Welshie have got a little plan for themselves next year, right? Because he has to go at the end of next year. He has to. This year will be Zach Merrett turns up at 9 a.m. for work, right? He clocks in, he gets 30 touches and kicks a goal, and he goes home, right? And then at the end of next season, I hope Rosa's gone, hey, Hawthorn, do you still want him? Yeah. Good. Well, why don't we wipe your ass for you? And we've done the deal in the background with 3 other clubs that gets us the picks that we want, and gets, you have to give up this and you have to give up that. But we've done the friggin' deal for you because your useless manager, Zach, can't get a deal done. And then, oh, by the way, the insult, and don't make out that it's not, the insult of asking for a 3rd round pick back with 15 minutes left to go in the trade period, that's a bloody insult. If that bloke thought he could get away with breaking even or doing even better than break even to get a top 20 footballer in this comp, the man's dreaming. Right? So I hope, genuinely at the end of next season, I hope Rosa's already got the deal organised, sorted, and knows what he wants to do with Zach, because where it will backfire on Big Brass One's Welshie, is that if he walks next year for a packet of chips.
Yeah.
Or the year after, sorry, because he's 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
If he's still here at the end of next year, then it's too much bad press and too much bad blood. But if he walks at the end of 2 years for a bag of chips and Hawthorn gets him, then I've got a problem with Big Brass One's Welshie.
Yeah, I mean, it tells you that the culture didn't change much.
No, that's true. But do you, when you say 2-3 years, like, do you think there's any chance, any faint little chance that, like you said, next year Merrett does his job? again, the same thing. Hawthorn comes with bloody some busted ass brown banana of a bloody footballer and offers us the same kind of crap. And we say, well, no, we're going to back ourselves to make Merrett stay long term. Is that any chance of that happening?
Yeah, I mean, look, it depends how disruptive the year is, right? I mean, because at some point.
But it won't be, because clearly he hasn't, has anybody heard a word from Zach Merrett? Apart from the Brownlow, he won't be doing interviews.
His manager is his word. So,
but that's beside the point. When his manager won't be there in round 1 next year, right?
No,
it'll be Zach Merrett, and the club won't put him anywhere near a microphone.
But I'm saying you'll know internally though where things are at as the year goes on. Like if he's just quiet and in the corner, you start to get an idea of what's happening. Because look, that's the problem. I mean, Scott needs an invigorated side. I mean, this side was 4th last. They actually need a bolt of spirit and culture, and that's my fear. Like the opposite of what I feel now is what a young group coming in, because we still got pick 5 and 6 and all these guys coming through, 2 NGAs maybe. They need a culture coming in of a young group of guys from age 27 to 30 that is on, is on board. I have to say it. And that's the fear but do I still think Merrett will act professional. I really do.
Yes.
That's his nature, and I have no problem saying that. Is it awkward? Yeah, it is. Because it'll be still like, even just the weeks him losing the captaincy, right? It's still an awkward moment. Like it's because he won't be on the leadership group either, and he shouldn't be. Like he should be just
absolutely not.
He has to be just a player now. Like to be blunt. So I just don't think you have it any other way. But it's just
a big part of this decision tonight, I think, is I asked Scotty this question, and it's tough to quantify, but mate. 10, 20 and 22, which will be 15, 25 and bloody halfway down the 20s when all the NGAs and stuff are done. And by the way, your arrogant little rear end wanted a 3rd round back, did you? You arrogant little turd. Anyway, that's not going to get it done.
It was a bit of a cheeky kind of, but I mean
cheeky.
But
even the
Hustwaite
thing.
Even the Hustwaite thing to me is a bit like
that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, at what point do you think you were going to break even here? You want a contracted top 20 AFL footballer to come to your club who could very simply, by him being on your list, put you over the top for a flag, right? You want that bloke, and you're going to give us some poxy VFL bloke, and then at the last minute ask for stuff back. That's my point about this whole thing, is that Hawthorn were never serious. They were never serious. They were hoping against hope.
There's no doubt in my mind they were hoping we would cave, because they read all the headlines of the off-season, right? And Draper and Ridley and all that. They thought it was a club probably in self-collapse. And I think that's a little bit where Andrew Welsh is at. If I'm sticking up for him, he's probably identifying that and saying, we're going to stand our ground here. So the unity will come from me, the CEO, the coach, the list manager, and not the captain. Like in some ways,
better or worse.
Yeah.
Better or worse.
We run the club. This will be the message of unity going out to everyone. That
and just also too that message of unity will be there. That Welsh is in charge. Vozo's there too, mate, and Brad Scott's just right there with him. Right. They're all on the same page to do exactly what they just did. So that's the unity that the playing list will be looking for. And then just sort of...
Now you just got to handle... Yeah, I mean, you got to handle... Now, Welsh's kind of guy I think would be pretty good at that. But boy, there's some...
He wouldn't need to say much. He wouldn't need to say much in his first interview. He would need to say, told you. Did I tell you what was going to happen or what?
I'd probably give Merrett 3 weeks off at least just to go overseas and come back and
it'll
then
be filthy.
Yeah, let your mind come to the reality of where you are. you actually do have mates at your club. There are players that like you, come back, integrate in. And
I hope he says to Zach, listen, mate, but the reality is they couldn't get you to them. They told him what was going to work.
It's a tough one. I'm so conflicted in my thoughts because I really wanted us to get this trade done. So
but we didn't authorize Draper. We didn't authorize Ridley. Yeah. We were free falling with those guys, players making decisions, not the club making decisions. We were free falling, and we just had another player who just happens to be our best player and our captain.
Yeah,
make a decision to leave the club, and the club's just going, oh, okay. Oh, can't stop Draper, can't stop Ridley. Can't we manage to stop Ridley? But we're the people just going along for the ride, and Merrett was the line in the sand. The club had to say, no, we're in charge. We're making the decisions, especially in this contracted player. We're making the decisions. Now, just the other thing on the side of the page for a little added benefit that no one will talk about is, like they said, no one will talk about at parties, is that what we have just done is we have shown the rest of the playing list at Essendon what happens when you try to get out whilst you're under contract.
It won't be easy.
We don't play. We don't play, man. Like if like you said, if North had have rung,
you committed to us, yeah.
That's it. If you commit to us, you're bloody well committed to us. Yeah. That's it. And if anybody else, and I don't think they are, and bless every one of you little Essendon footballers. I don't think you are, but if you're not, you can't just get out now.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we're not alone, because the Saints have said just put their foot down on Rowan Marshall.
Rowan Marshall.
Brisbane Lions which I thought this would go through. I mean, Brisbane Lions put their foot down on Cal Alchi going to Adelaide.
Okay. And
they didn't trade him. And it wasn't even that bad an offer, but they just went no. And then a guy called Buku Kamas didn't get traded in the end.
Didn't get to Carlton.
So we're not alone. It's not like we're isolated in this whole field, but yeah, it's an interesting trade period. There's a few, I actually thought Carlton still might stick with Curnow, but obviously Curnow right at the end, they did the deal. So, I mean, it's interesting because it'll be interesting how Essendon and Carlton go from here on. Because, I mean, Carlton losing Curnow is a big deal.
Without a doubt.
They've
huge.
lost a major asset. I know he's had the out of form and a few niggles and all that, but if he's fully right to go and fully fit and confident, obviously he's a 70-goal talent, right? So,
again, mate, you get out of town, people don't know your face, especially in Sydney. They're not going to know him. He can just do his job up there, be like Joey D up in Brizzy, and he'll probably be very, very good for him.
Yeah. Look, we should not, the first time we've kind of spoke on the public show, but we should not just ignore Braden Fiorini. So,
yes,
he's obviously, when we're talking about leaders coming in, actually, there's one that actually is a fantastic cultural fit, especially right now, where he may be more of a leader than Merrett at the moment amongst the group. But he's obviously, literally just turned 28 only weeks ago. So I know they keep saying he's 28, but he's 28 in August next year. So he's just turned 28. He's obviously, turned into a really good wingman. He's no highlight reel or anything like that. A nice, neat left footer that's efficient, that gets the ball 20, 21 times, runs 16 kilometres a game, tackles hard, pressures hard, runs two ways, and just plays by example. Say, follow me. So nice, very, very nice fit into the club. I do like that aspect. Ironically, with Merrett staying, it actually makes it with Dersma on one wing and him on the other wing, and Merrett and Durham and Colwell all fit. It actually does make for a half decent midfield line.
This is the thing, right?
Yeah. So, look, the success of the Essendon Football Club obviously next year will probably come down to health, right? It's just how this off season, how much we can get guys to be reliably healthy. I'll say that word. Not just healthy, but reliably healthy. I mean, not breaking down. So
and
Langford,
I don't
Parrish,
think he can turn it around.
Reed,
I don't think he can turn it around in 12 months.
No, I mean they've obviously gone all over the world to try and sort things out. My information is that Langford feels very confident from the treatment he had. I know Nate Caddy does. That's actually a direct conversation. Feels very, very confident with his groin now. They've had a look at that and identified the issue. Said it's the hardest week he's ever had. So they do a real, I don't know what the word is, but he said the technology is completely freaky. And they work his butt off for a whole week, just constant stress, running. They identify his running mechanics and everything like that. Yeah. So they've actually picked up what the issue is, why he's getting that slight groin soreness. So they've now worked on a program and that's working really well. So that's a good thing. I mean, the club is addressing that, obviously with the announcements of Innes and Regan, they're really addressing it hard. This obviously, so they know that that if they get everyone healthy, Ridley, Mackay, Langford, Parrish, but they're actually, Martin. Like I said, they're consistently playing. They're not just playing 12 games or 10 games, that they're closer to 20 game players that are consistent. Then we're a much better side. That's just reality. It's just because you had Fiorini onto that wing, which we had huge troubles on. It just literally was. You watch Essendon, one wing is almost not relevant, and that's just. I know it's harsh on some of the players that played there, but that's just reality. No one averaged over 10 possessions that played there.
Bless him, but Harry Jones isn't the answer.
No. Lowell averaged 9 possessions. Jones did. Cox did. Jay Kelly did. We've tried, but we've actually got a wingman who averages over 20 disposals, who actually has the IQ to know where to run, how to run, and where to get the ball. So that's going to have actually, ironically, even though he's a no-frills player, transitionally with ball movement and everything like that, he's actually going to have quite an impact about that
and
the outer wing.
If it's anywhere near possible, that's what we should be concentrating on, right? Because we now have picks, what? 5
and 6.
5 and 6?
5, 6, 21, 27, 30, right?
Yeah. See, there you go, right? So now, forget about the whole Zach Merrett thing. Forget about the whole bloody Hawthorn
It's going to be very hard.
Right? I know it's going to be hard.
I can promise you the media won't.
No, I don't know. But this is the thing. Like, pick 5 and 6, we're going to get 2 very, very good players. Also, hey, has the wheel and dealing finished now? Can we offer...
No, you can. So what you can do is still trade picks. You can't trade players. You can still trade picks up to the draft. So, Look, there's no doubt in my mind Essendon's going to look at that 21, 27, see if they can somehow get to, for example, Gold Coast 15, right? So that's an example. So you have 5, 6, and 15 as a scenario. Yep. I doubt Carlton trade their pick 9 for 21, 27, and 30. I doubt they do that. But that's that's what you're just trying to do. You're trying to get really 3 in the top 15. I know before everyone screams, I know they're 4 or 5 picks later in reality, but we'll get 3 in the top 20, right? On actual draft night. If you can get that, which is really 3 first round proper draft picks, then you're off to a good start, because I've always said the top 20 players, there's definitely talent there. And so you can get with pick 15, you're going to be close to getting a Jovan Filippo kind of deal. But I think he goes around about 18 or 19. A Harley Barker, who I really like. So there's players there. So that's hopefully where Essendon now lean to and just improve their position. And then, you have 3 really quality players in. You'll probably get Adam Swade in from your NGA, who, Cal has, by the way, at around pick 18 or 19, and he's phantom draft. So he's no one to just ignore either. So then you've got Al Achkar, but I mean, obviously, this is a good segue though, but one of the main draft picks.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Now, unfortunately, I think we're probably just a few picks behind where we need to be. That's sadly. But one of the obviously massive draft bolters is actually going to be coming up in about 3 or 4 minutes' time.
Scotty, with the latest Ray Martin-esque interview with him.
So 48 hours ago, I had a 38-minute chat with Sullivan Robey, who's the talk of the town, draft bolter. Cal had him as the second best available player in the draft. So when I say available, I mean non-NGA. So basically Dersma and then Robey.
Damn.
Actually, did he have CDT or him? So it might be second or third. But
we're going to go with Sullivan.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's gone nuts in the last 2 months, and he played a wild card final, played then 3 finals, and literally was 3 BOGs, and the one he wasn't BOG, he kicked 4 goals in. So yeah.
and should have been probably,
and close too. So yeah, he's obviously a huge talent. I would love him at Essendon, and what you'll find is he's a very, very big Essendon fan, and his whole family is. So look,
is there opportunities? Do you think maybe picks 5 and 6 and 10 and 20, whatever the hell we've got? Can we get up there?
Well, I mean, the question is Richmond do seem a little bit open to trade, to possibly do a trade with one of their picks. So the question is, right, does 5 and 15 get you pick 3 kind of thing?
No.
So that's it. I think it would be close.
5 and 15 gets you 3.
Yeah, I mean, because you're only going down 2 spots, but you got pick 15. So it depends what they.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
it all depends on how they rate the draft, but it does sound like they're open to maybe splitting some picks. So there'll be a lot of leftover dealings to happen here. But I'll be very shocked if Essendon wasn't very interested in Sullivan Robey. But the problem is, I would think the Tigers would also be very. Yeah. So
him and their number 1 pick from last year ever was.
I've kind of lost.
Very nice.
I've kind of lost the. I don't think we get Dersma. I mean, I'd love him, but it just feels like the Eagles are going to get him. So that's how it is.
Hey mate, I'm just flicking through the participants that want to post on the Facebook page.
Yep.
I'm just flicking through the previews of their posts at the moment. Geez, there are some very, very unhappy Hawk supporters trying to get onto the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast Facebook page and tee off on us. But no, Gratos is just filing through them, blocking them. And
no one loves the block they do.
Mate, I don't do the block. It's just, see ya.
Oh, look, Hawks fans are going to go. Like, if the rivalry was insane before, it's right. Like, they've gone. Even everyone I've talked normal on X, on X, they just go. They're just insane. Like, they just go for you so hard, and you're like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Like, you wined him, dined him. You know, sorry. I mean, that was. I have to say this too before we go to the break. It does feel like there was a complete lack of planning from Hawthorn, and yet they did this dinner ages ago. And then they've come in with like, oh, well, how about this pick? And
that's
you're like,
my point. The arrogance of this deal is, and that's why I hope Welshie comes out and says, no, look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at Essendon on this. Hawthorn came in with a disingenuous POS offer. And then at the last minute thought they'd grab a 3rd round back.
With 30 hours to go, they decided to.
With 30 hours to go. You've had however the hell long you've had to do deals with West Coast, North Melbourne and Richmond. If your bullshit manager
you had to get rid of a player.
Enough,
you had to get.
There you go.
There had to be a player that you, value, but you have depth in that area that you could give up. Especially if you're bringing in Zach Merrett. So
that's what I'm saying. So if they wanted some VFL player from our list, then fine. But we're talking about a top 20 AFL footballer. So don't get upset with us, Zach Merritt's manager, mate. And if Zach, I'd be considering I'd be considering looking at alternate representation. Because if that guy hasn't been to WA, North Melbourne, and down to Punt Road, and was on his knees begging for picks, if he didn't do that, then he misrepresented you, mate, because you are worth way more than they offered and you know it. His entire negotiation strategy was Essendon will blink because they don't want a player at the club that doesn't want to be there. Well, bad luck, mate. We didn't blink. So if any negotiations, which Scott and I do for a living, if you don't have a backup plan, you're an idiot, right? And the backup plan should have been, all right, fine. How badly, Hawthorn, do you want Zach Merrett? Because this guy could put you over the top next year. You know this. Yeah. So give him McKenzie.
And when the Hawks, in all seriousness, they've lost a really good depth halfback, and they've lost Warple as well, haven't they? So,
yep, Geelong.
They're weaker than they started the trade period, and so they finished 8th. Yes, they had a good final series, but they finished 8th. They're like. The Lions are a hell of a lot better now. So, yeah, good luck to the Hawks because.
But because Pox, but this is the thing, man. You and I negotiate for a living, so I'm looking at this deal, going, "Wow, this would be very interesting to negotiate across a table, right? Like it would be, what do you want to do here? What do you want to do there?" But ultimately, when when Zach's manager walked through the door, he would have to have known that he can only keep face or hold face for so long. Yeah. Because if you really, really want Zach, we hold the cards, right? We hold the cards, not you. So your POS pick 22 that you added, then the third round that you wanted back for a top 20 AFL footballer is an insult and you know it. Your entire negotiation strategy was that we were going to blink. Zach, mate, go get a better manager because he is no good.
Comments by a Grant Hill. Well, yeah, like I said, it is what it is. We move on, but
hey, Sullivan Robey.
That
is going to be an awesome interview.
A good positive thing is coming on the show. Look, this is a really. I shouldn't brag about myself because it's not. It's more Sullivan's words, but this is actually a genuinely really good interview. This kid is all quality. He's a competitor. You'll see it. You'll talk about. You talk about his opponents that he liked. He'll talk about the 4 or 5 guys on his team that are all ranked in the top 20. And yeah, he'll talk a little bit about Essendon and this year and who his favourite Essendon player is and all that sort of stuff. So I hope you enjoy it. Talk about his combine, talking to teams. So what it would be like if Essendon chose him. He talks about that. So you're going to enjoy it. Have a listen. Daniel Casey, by the way, obviously, like I said a month ago, was very generous in giving him some of the music for our ads, for our ad breaks. So I'm going to play his other piece of music that he provided us. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll be back with Sullivan Robey. Welcome back to the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast. Look, we have a very, very special guest. As you know, I've been one that's been talking about the national draft coming up for a long time. And look, there's been a name that for the last 2 or 3 months that's been skyrocketing everywhere. He's known by Cal, Toomey and everyone as the official draft bolter. It's been exciting. Kicked 18 goals in his 9 games for Eastern Rangers. But we're going to talk about what led up to that as well. But welcome to the show, Mr. Sullivan Robey. How you going?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Now, I want to make sure too, am my pronunciations right? Is it Robey?
Robey, yep.
Robey?
Right.
Fantastic. Yep. So look, first of all, we'll go to a little bit about your study career, but just initially, has it been a little bit of like a crazy whirlwind of the last 2 or 3 months seeing you're seeing phantom drafts, you're seeing draft rankings, and then suddenly you're 35, then you're 23, then you're 14, and then you're 6. How have you? I won't say coped because it's been exciting, but have you come to terms with that? You and probably even your family going, oh my goodness, like how have you come to terms with all the publicity?
Yeah, it's definitely been pretty full on. I've learned a lot of things over these past couple of months with everything that's been going on. But yeah, it definitely feels pretty surreal. Like it's still kind of setting in now that everything's kind of wrapping up and the draft is getting a bit closer. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty surreal. It's a good moment.
No, look, it's been really exciting. I'll obviously talk where. This is a kind of an Essendon fan show, but it's been exciting for Essendon fans to have a name pop into our range and go, oh, that's exciting. That's a player we like. So, look, it's been really exciting on that front. Just you as a junior, is football in your family? Or are you the first to have kind of play football at a decent level, or is there a background to footy in your family?
Yeah, there's a little bit. My dad's side are all European, so they didn't really play much footy, and neither did my dad. But my mum's side's quite footy heavily based, and my granddad's brother played for Melbourne. He was the ruckman for Melbourne, David Alday, and my uncle played Eastern Rangers and was on Richmond's list for a little while there. And I've that side of the family's been around footy for a little while, but
yeah.
Probably not as much attention as I've had over these past couple of months. Like no one really on that level. So, yeah.
No, look, I get that too. My dad's Canadian, so I mean, obviously with your European side, I don't have that much background, so I just grew to love the game basically when I being in Australia. But did you go right through kind of like your under 12s, your classic kind of junior league? Were you a small kid or a tall kid? Like, what were you like as a junior kid?
I was very competitive all through juniors and still am. And I was that inside mid. I was quite undersized. There were a lot of boys taller than me, and I just played as that inside mid and never really went forward. I was just that scrappy player on his knees during a muddy day, just getting the handball out to the outside players. So, I never really played in a league. I didn't play any in the league, actually. Never really played anything more than local. So, like I said, I was just that little inside mid who was just hard at it.
No, look, well, you eventually got onto the Dandenong Stingrays. I'll ask you the secondary question about the result of that. But initially, when you got on, what was that feeling like, and where did they want you to play?
Yeah, it was obviously a very, very good feeling to know that I'd got an opportunity outside of local, and I did the pre-season with Stingrays all the way up until I think the final cut for their final list, and unfortunately got cut. But in all fairness, I was 175 centimeters, and probably 60 kilos. So I was still that small mid, and unfortunately with COVID and some injuries back then as well, I was pretty thick and didn't have much X factor in my game. And Stingrays just let me go and said that I just wasn't up to the game speed, and I think they kind of rode with that for the next couple of seasons. But yeah, originally it was a good opportunity to see what the next level was at and what I had to get there, what I had to do to get there. So when the cut did happen,
how do you respond then? Do you is it just a natural part that you just naturally grew, or like how did you respond? Was it going to the gym? Was it intensifying your footy? Like, what was the next stage as you go, okay, but I still want to make a career out of this?
Yeah, obviously my competitive nature, I was pretty frustrated with it and upset with myself, and definitely gave a big spark under my bum to keep going and hopefully get on a coach league list. But now that I look back at it, it was probably a little bit of delusion, because I don't think I really had what it took to be on a list at under 16s, and I hadn't developed as a player yet. So I'm kind of glad that I felt a little bit hard done by, and it made me push harder. And at that early age, it made me understand what discipline is, and what you put in is what you get out. So yeah, like you touched on, I did get stuck into the gym, and I did start to learn how to do things by myself and put the work in. So yeah, it was a little bit of a gift in disguise.
So when when the situation came with Rowville, and by the way, I'm only 2 suburbs away from you. I'm in the Heathmont kind of way, so we're quite close. So I actually have watched Rowville before, and watched Vermont, and all that kind of league. So how did that? Did you try to get onto the Rowville side? How did that kind of eventuate getting onto that team?
Yeah, so I played under 17s, and then at the back end of the year, the 17 season wrapped up pretty early because we weren't the strongest side and didn't play any finals. So I was lucky enough to get some opportunities with the under 19s, and the under 19s trained with the seniors as well. So a few training nights down there, I caught the attention of Ben Wise, and he was lucky enough to give me some opportunities in the seniors and trainings. And I got named in emergency as a 16-year-old. I was going to play, but didn't end up going through. But the opportunities that Rowville had was really impressive. Like, their program down there is quite strong, and the coaching staff down there is really, really good. Like, Jimmy Gwilt and Ben Wise are really big role models with their footy. So getting a little bit overlooked with Stingrays or whatever it was. It wasn't much of a frustrating thing to go back to Rowville, because it didn't really feel like I was dropping a standard. I knew that Rowville's standard in their program and the league that they play in was up there with Coates League, and that it was a lot better to go back to, considering there's not much of a difference.
It's a good point, because I often tell people, go, look, the EFNL, like with Vermont and Rowville, and this is a really good league, like out here in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne. It's not, you have to play really well, and it's physical, and so you coming through there, where did they, once you started getting some games, where did they initially play you, in what position?
Yeah, so I played this year. I started the year as an under 19s, as a captain under 19s, playing through that midfield, and eventually got my senior debut against Blackburn playing that midfield role. And it was the first 3 senior games where I played somewhat decent, still getting used to the level and the standard of the bigger bodies. But it was that I think it was the 3rd game against Merrett, just in the last quarter. Wisey chucked me down forward to give me a bit of opportunity and give me a bit of a one-on-one, and ended up kicking a nice goal and set up a few nice goals as well. And that's what kind of sprungboard me into that forward role. And the next week against Doncaster East, Wisey put me up against Taylor Jim, the ex-AFL player for Freo, and
that's right,
it was a big role, but ended up performing in that game as well. And that's what kind of solidified my my role as playing that forward. So I was always going into Rowville and seniors or 19s as that mid, but it was kind of lucky to find that I could play that half forward role as well. A bit of versatility in my game. Now,
one important detail in this is actually, from Dandenong, under 16 to here, is your growth. How much did you actually grow in height?
Yeah, so under 16s, when I was cut, like I said, I was 175, and then the next year, 180, I went to 182, and now this year I'm 192. So there's been a lot of growth, and both my parents and then their parents as well are all late bloomers. So it was all just one big combination of late blooming, and it was tough through the junior years and whatnot to see boys kind of go through their growth spurt while I was still lacking behind, but. Now that it's all worked out, it's pretty good. And
we'll go on to the Eastern Ranges, but you're obviously physically, from me anyway, you go, gee, he looks like he's been in the gym. Like, is there a combination of you getting strength and then your height? Is that what is in part helped catapult you into playing how you are?
Yeah, for sure. A bit of credit goes to my older brother. He's only 2 years older than me, and he's quite involved with gym and programs and whatnot. So I took a lot from him, just trying to be like my older brother. And it was all kind of one big storm, the growth spurt, and then me putting on a lot more size as well. Like I said, it was one big storm. It all just happened, in the click of a finger. So there's boys who gradually grow over 5 years and gradually put on size, but I think mine just all happened in a 2 year or a year and a half, little window. So that's why it kind of looks pretty abroad.
And I mean, do you actually wonder still, because you've only, and happy birthday for last week. You just turned 18 last week. So happy birthday. I know I messaged you, but I'll say it again. But do you still think there's an outside chance you still may grow 1 or 2 centimeters because you're a late bloomer? There's some players definitely I've seen come through our side that from their draft to the end of their first year, sometimes they've grown another 1 or 2 centimeters. So I could imagine you may be a 194 kind of player.
100%. Yeah. Just my birthday being so late, and the late bloomer. But it's funny, I had an x-ray just on my collarbone probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago now. And the x-ray showed that I still had growth plates in my arm. So I think there is guaranteed another couple centimeters. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I'm more thinking in my head about who my club should draft. But so look, that's obviously we're getting to now Eastern Rangers. Is it the Roval coach that talks to Eastern Rangers? How does that connection happen?
A lot of it was my dad originally. He was flicking emails over.
Bless him.
Yeah, we were really trying to advocate for myself, and it kind of fell through a little bit because it's a dad just putting in a word for his son. It doesn't seem as legit. So it was a lot of my dad, but then all it really took was someone from the outside with a bit more of a respect than just a kid's son to put my name forward. And after two dads or two respectable blokes had advocated for me, it kind of went through. So a lot of it was my dad, and a lot of it was Ben Wise. So there are a lot of parties involved in helping me get that transfer and that opportunity, but it definitely wasn't easy.
Yeah, and look, just around about this time, you actually even we'll talk about a whole lot of teams you met. We won't go into detail with the discussion, but you actually met Essendon close to around this time, didn't you? Was it more Eastern Rangers time that they reached out to you just to say hi, or was that crossover part?
No, it was about after my third game at Eastern Rangers, Essendon reached out. Okay. They were the second club to reach out. So,
They were onto it. So obviously you get to Eastern Rangers. They, correct me if I'm wrong, they mainly put you around the forward line. You end up kicking 18 goals in 9 games. How did you find that first month, those first 3-4 games? Do you feel like, hey, this is a similar level, or did you just notice different kind of physiques, or how did you feel the transition?
Yeah, the transition was definitely a bit weird. I know the standards are quite similar, but just the speed of the game and the space you have as a player, there's a lot more one-on-ones, and there's a lot more time and space than I really anticipated. Just the standard of seniors, it's very in tight, and playing that half forward role, the ball gets kicked over your head a fair bit. Some kick from stoppage. It might be the centre square, it goes straight to the goal square. So the smaller grounds was definitely something to get used to, or the bigger grounds, I should say. But a little bit of, I think you touched on the builds of some of the boys. It's a lot more of a boy comp, lacks a bit of physicality. So I think that's where I could kind of show my strengths with the physicality that I've from the senior program. So yeah, it was all good to get used to. It was fun.
Where does your competitiveness come from? Is that something born from one of your family members? It's like, where does that come from?
Yeah, I think it's in the family. I've just got the 2 brothers, so it's always competing. It's always going up against each other. But yeah, like I said, my brother's 2 years older than me, so that age gap is quite close. So I get very competitive with my older brother. I'm always trying to be better than him and beat him. So I think it helps having an older brother close to you.
And I'm right. Even your mum, who's gone through, I guess, a medical journey herself, and probably could be labelled a magnificent fighter herself. So, how did that shape you at all as well? That whole experience with your mum?
Yeah, it was definitely tough with the family, but I think it just brought us all closer together. Like, it sounds a bit weird to say it, but it definitely was a happy time once we knew mum, just had to fight through, and we got around her and made sure she was feeling good. It was just a matter of time. So Yeah, I wouldn't say. I mean, as much as I'd love to give her credit for my success, a lot of it still was myself, and it was still my, internal drive. But yeah, now that I look back on it, and even during the time, I wanted to do it for mum as well. But it doesn't take away from the fact that if I'm lucky to end up on an AFL program, I don't need someone to get sick again for me to drive. Like I've still got that natural knack to be better than everyone in front of me. So yeah, like I said, I'd love to give her credit, but it wasn't all her.
No, it's probably more of an inspiration, but and that's fantastic. Even you just to see the positive side of what's come out of that, and you just being a natural competitor, that's going to take you a long way because I think for me, what makes or breaks sometimes a player going to the next level is their competitiveness. Are they day one? Are they just going, oh great, I made it, or are they like, okay, this is now day one again in their mind, and here we go. And like we have a player who is, I know. Let's get it out in the open. You are a Bombers fan.
Bombers fan, yeah.
But I could imagine even you looking at a guy like Archie Roberts, and going, that's the mentality, man. He's the guy that just came in, pick 54. But he just came in and said, I don't care what pick I am. I'll get the best out of myself. So I see that how you talk is how I think an Archie Roberts talks. So, so obviously Eastern Rangers, you get into the midfield and there's one big game, man. It's obviously stats wise, there's one big game. And it's probably the game where everyone just went, what the hell? And it's obviously a 40 possession game. There's 3 goals. I'll tell you my favorite game. That actually wasn't my favorite game for you, but I'll tell you it. But did that, coming from that game, did that have any clarity in your mind about you as a midfielder and where you may want to take your footy from here? We already set that way. Like I already know I could do it, but that was the first time you'd played midfield for a while in a top comp. Did it give you anything more than about what you want to be next, sort of down the line?
Yeah, no, for sure. It gave me a lot more confidence to know that I could kind of play that midfield role at that standard. So it definitely gave me a bit of a spark leading into the final series, and to understand that I had that ability to play that midfield role and have dominant games gave me a lot of confidence. And yeah, just the attention around it as well, to see that people were quite impressed by it was a big spark. But yeah, there are a lot of positives to take out of that game, but there are a lot of negatives as well. Like I learned a lot from that game with what I had to improve on and some things that I lacked in my game. So yeah, I think that game was very important, as you probably know, to help me.
And that's a really interesting comment, because I'll be frank. When I watched that game, I went, yeah, it was good, but he's got some things to work on.
Yeah,
it was probably more the Calder final that I went, all right, now it's clicking. And there was some just moments I saw you. It was a little bit more tuck the ball under the arm. All right, I'm going to have a bit of a bounce here. I'm going to take the game on. And even sometimes when you're kicking, I noticed how aggressively you're running on. Like you already saw the next passage of play, and hey, I could get it back here. And and I just felt like your mind, I don't know if it is, but I just felt like, oh, his mind's clicked now to he gets it. And he's taken the game on, and my ability can do this. So I actually found that personally was my favourite game of yours this year.
I couldn't agree more. Like when recruiters ask about, what was one of my favourite games, I say the 40 is pretty. From the stat sheet, it looks pretty. But yeah, if there was a favourite game, it'd be that Calder Cannons game for sure. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was just I mean, I actually messaged you, I think, after maybe that's the first time I messaged you and went, man, that was a joy to watch. Because I had to tell you, I thought sometimes these players need to need to hear it from people who are just watching the game live at the ground and go, hey man, I'm an Essendon fan, but I didn't know you were an Essendon fan then, but just went, hey man, what you did today, man, was pretty special. So, so that was the first time I went, oh, okay, and I honestly said this in the crowd. We had a couple of guys a couple of friends, and I went, "Man, that's right there is AFL quality right there."
Yeah.
And that's what excited me about you from there on. So, and look, it's obviously when did the actually injury occur from then on? Like you played two more finals. When did the injury occur?
So it was actually the first quarter of that Calder Cannons game. It was
No way.
I was getting a ground ball and CDT just it wasn't a big bump. It wasn't ferocious, but it just got me in the right spot and aggravated and obviously chipped the collarbone. So yeah, you probably wouldn't even be able to find where he did it because it was that like small. It wasn't a big hit, but yeah, like I said, it just got me in the right spot and obviously fractured the collarbone and played out the rest of the game, and that gave me a lot of confidence into the next couple of games through the finals to know that I could bite down on the mouth guard and push out a game if I really had to, because I did it, for 3 quarters in that Cannons game.
Yeah, and did the coach, out of curiosity, play you more forward because of the injury, or because there was a lot of people wondering, well, you've just had 2 games in the midfield, but we felt like you were the best player on the ground. Was there an awareness of the side of that injury that you played a little bit more forward, or did they really just say, hey, we actually need some goal scoring and you're kind of the guy as well?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I know LJ, the coach at Eastern, she likes to have me and Ollie Greaves, obviously, swapping that midfield and forward role, and we can be both dangerous in each line. So, it was a bit of both. I think, she just wanted to even out the minutes and make sure me and Ollie could have some dominant games. Like obviously, he had a dominant game in the forward line for GWV, and I had my dominant games as well. So it was just balancing that out and making sure that teams couldn't really defend us, no matter where me and Greaves were or whoever it was. So, it was a little bit of LJ's strategic plan to do that. But I know that the last quarter, I think it was about 15 or 10 minutes left, LJ rested me and Greaves and Zabe Taylor just to make sure we were fresh for the grand final. So, like I said, it's very, very strategic the way she went about it.
Yeah, no, it was good. And look, obviously you kicked the 4 goals in the grand final. By then, I'm curious, were your relationships quite strong with the team by then? Because it felt like to me, yourself and Ollie actually had a really good connection. Of some goals you would kick, and he had a special kind of little celebration for you, and it felt like you were part of the group, and felt like by the time the grand final hit that you were Eastern Rangers as well.
Yeah, for sure. All those boys were pretty opening and welcoming for me to come in and do my thing. So I think after the 3rd game, I'd kind of met all the boys and built a relationship with the boys, and I think Greaves was a very big one. Obviously, the captain of the Eastern Rangers with Andrew Barker, and his ability to kind of just bring me on and build a relationship with me, kind of flourished into all the other boys around. So by that grand final, I did feel like I'd been there for the past 2 or 3 years. So it's just a big credit to the boys. Like they were very very warming.
When you look at the draft rankings, do you start to think like, gee, this was actually a pretty special team? Because I mean, Cal's put Oscar now in his top 20. You got Ollie, you got Xavier, you got yourself. Tell me if I'm missing anyone. But it was actually Doveston, yeah, sorry. But I mean that's 5 players pretty much in a national draft that may go top 20, which is pretty amazing. Tell me a little bit about, if you can, each player and what you liked about them. Like starting with Xavier Taylor, man, because his grand final was pretty special. He was just the wall. So he felt like to me he's a natural competitor as well. Like he hates to lose a one-on-one. So just tell us a few about those 5 guys, just things to look forward to for other teams who may draft them.
Yeah, is that like you touched on? Xavier Taylor is obviously a very, very competitive player, and I think on and off the field, he's a great bloke as well. Like his ability to build relationships with all the boys. Like every training session, he's always using his voice and using his love for the boys. So he's a really, really awesome bloke that I've built a relationship with and gotten to know. So I think Xavier Taylor would be an absolute glory to have on the team if a team is to select him. Like he's a very, very good football player and a very, very good person. And then Ollie Greaves is very similar. Obviously, can find the footy. He's got some skills in the midfield and forward line. We're quite similar players, but also very not similar.
Yeah.
But he's a very good bloke as well.
He likes to smile.
Yeah, he does. Yep. And we love a celebration together. I think that shows the relationship that we've built and how good of a player and bloke he is. But like I could say that about all 5 kids. Like they're all really good kids, and they've all been really good and a crucial part to my little stint for the half of the season. Like they're all really, really good blokes, and Dover's got his skills on and off the field. He's obviously a very handy small forward that any club needs, and Oscar Taylor's left foot is damaging, very, very damaging. So
he's really come on strong, hasn't he? He's a bit of a bolter himself.
100%.
And he has every right to be. So so congratulations on the grand final win. So now we're coming into obviously the combine. Were you still a little bit injured in that combine? Like where's the actual injury as we speak now?
Yeah, the injury's still. I didn't have to have any surgeries or anything like that, which was pretty lucky. But the injury was still there. Probably didn't feel it as much as the games that I played the finals through. It was quite obvious through the games. But I think the testing from the outside for people like you, it probably didn't look as pretty and as appealing, and probably didn't really match my bolting story. But every recruiter that I've kind of spoken to about it, they understand that. I've come from just a local preseason with no real testing. Like that was my first time doing the 20 meter and agility and all that kind of stuff, and technique and timing is quite crucial in those testing things. So the whole environment was pretty new to me. So I just took it as it is. I got disqualified twice in the agility, and the last one I kind of just had to make sure I got a score.
Just get through it.
There was a lot to it, and it was pretty daunting. Like to do that for the first time with no real preparation through the preseason. Like there was boys who did all the testing for Coach League. Like it was it was obviously a new experience for me, but I enjoyed it, and obviously it's given me a big spark to know that there's areas of my game that I can work on when I get on a list. That's if I can improve on those, I can become a really damaging player. So there's areas to work on.
Do they give you feedback, or even at the end of the year, grand final, even your Eastern Rangers coach? Like, what's the main thing now leading into a likely AFL career that you go, okay, this off season, here's some things, whether it be ground ball gets, whether it be just generally fitness. Like, what if I actually do play midfield? AFL fitness is pretty full on. What in your mind? What's the things you want to kind of work on this off season?
I think I'll put a lot of attention towards all the testing that we did for the combine. So the 20 meter, the agility, and the fitness mainly. If I can up those scores, even if they are just average, I'd love to be elite in those areas. So I think just with an AFL preseason, I'll excel in those areas, and I'll put a lot more attention into it as well. But in terms of on field with the footy in hand, I think my foot skills, both sides of my body, and even my handball in both sides of my body, I think if I can work on those, I can become a really damaging player and a really impressive player as well. So that's an area I'll put a lot of attention into over these next 6 months, 8 months.
Do you speak to pretty much nearly every team? Like how many clubs would have spoken to you over the combine?
So I had 16 clubs, so 16 interviews with clubs, and they're about 15 minutes, obviously, and you just walk in. It's a bit like speed dating.
Yeah. Now, do you just naturally kind of like say if it's Essendon or Richmond or West Coast or do you naturally go, oh, all right, this is the actual team that I actually literally could go to? Do you try and gauge their feedback or try and sort of gauge where they're at?
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, when a meeting's serious, when they're really trying to test you and, push you to answer some tricky questions. But obviously they're doing their job. They're trying to find, the best talent for their team. And I just got to be myself and make sure that, they know who they're picking. And it's obviously a weird thing to do at the combine, just the 15-minute interviews. But I think.
No. So, and obviously then draft night, it's coming up. Is it more excitement than anything? Like how do you feel? Do you feel like, are you one of those players that feels like I can just play anywhere? Like if it happens to be interstate, or if it has some, that you're quite comfortable in that situation?
Yeah, for sure. I'm more than happy to go interstate and play footy. It's just as long as I'm getting my opportunity and I'm working hard and I've got all the right facilities and the right people around me. I think I can excel in any area. So I'm no fuss at all. I'm just happy to know that where I sat at the start of the year, I was just looking to get on a VFL list or maybe even get picked up, pick 70 or something in the draft. So more than happy to be anywhere. Like it's a real privilege. I'd be in tears wherever I land.
Now, if for some reason of a nice moment of luck, the Essendon Football Club call your name out, what does it actually mean if that actually did happen? I understand you'll be happy to play anyone, so I don't want to sort of paint a picture, but just if that scenario did happen, what would that mean?
Yeah, it would mean the world. Obviously, it'd be a lot more special if it were to be Essendon. Obviously, a club that I grew up with and a club that my brothers grew up with and my father. So, it'd probably be a lot more emotional for the family and for me as well. And it would probably be, it'd be very, very exciting. Yeah.
No, well, likewise, trust me. So look, just being an Essendon fan, I'll just a few looser questions, and if it's okay, I don't know how long you've got, but if it's okay, I just had a few audience questions I was going to ask.
Yeah, no worries.
But just a curiosity, just let's remove yourself from the draft. Just as an Essendon fan, how do you see the club at the moment? Obviously, it's been the year of bad luck, obviously across all. Do you yourself see, go, I can still see, at least you see the Caddies and Roberts and Kakos and that sort of stuff. Do you still see as just a fan? Like, do you go, I actually like still what in some areas about where they're going?
Yeah, as a fan, obviously the whole year I didn't really have any idea of me going to Essendon, so still looked at it as a fan, and I think I still look at it now as a fan. So yeah, I think the list is pretty exciting. We were pretty hurt this year with injuries and stuff like that, but to give, I think it was 15 debuts, to give them all an opportunity and some experience at AFL level was pretty exciting. So I think, we're obviously down the lower end of the ladder, and we've got a lot to work on, but it's still quite promising. We've got some promising players, and we'll wait to see how this trade period ends up and the draft, and we could be on our way.
Out of curiosity, do you have a favourite player? Who are the players that you actually go, who you like enjoy the most?
You touched on him, Archie Roberts. Obviously, his competitiveness, like pick 53 or 54, I think he was, and he was just really impressive, very impressive player. Just his composure and his left foot. He's a very damaging player. He's quite impressive. Reminds me of Oscar Taylor a bit. But he's a great player, and obviously he's going to be a star.
So I'm just going to ask a few audience questions if that's okay.
Yeah, no,
I put a tweet out on X, saying, hey, I'm interviewing you, and let me know if there's some questions. Here's one from Silent. So who's a player you play with or against that you think should be, actually, sorry, my screen just went funny then, that should be more recognised than that it hasn't been as yet?
I think a player from Eastern Rangers would be Blake Chambers. He's a very, very skillful player. He's very damaging on both sides of his feet, and he rarely misses a kick. Like, I reckon he's one of the best kicks in the draft. I think if he gets an opportunity and, he puts a lot of work in, he's quite a competitive player as well himself, and a great bloke outside of football. Like, I've spent the past couple of years with him, and he's a great kid. So, I was a bit surprised to see that he wasn't getting as much attention as a few players. And, I think he's a very, very handy player, and any club would be lucky to pick him up. And I think maybe outside of Eastern Rangers, I'd have to give credit to Rory Wright. That Sandringham game in the grand final, he was a very impressive player, and got worked under the ball a few times when he was on me, and it was a bit of a shock to see. Like, I think he's got some AFL traits, and he's quite an impressive player. I don't look at his highlights or anything like that through the year, so I don't know how he's played, but just from what I saw and how he played on the grand final, it was quite impressive.
No, look, you and I think very similar, because I remember putting out a post saying, look, as much as a lot of players are getting attention, I said, I don't know why Rory Wright is not getting spoken about more, because if he's not an AFL player with an AFL mind of in some ways, actually, he's a little bit Archie Roberts as well.
Yeah.
But he is a real competitor. So and his grand final was impressive. So Bradify says, is there anyone that you base your game on that, or that's an influence in the AFL?
Yeah, I enjoy the Dustin Martins and the De Goeis. Obviously, they've got a real big X factor in the forward line and their midfield. The way they play the game through the midfield. So those players I look towards, but also Hugh McCluggage is obviously, all those three guys that I named probably aren't at my size. But yeah, just the way that Hugh plays the game through the forward and he kicks goals, but also his midfield impact. Like he's had some really damaging games, obviously in the grand final and through the finals. So he's a player I probably base my game off the most.
No, it's a good call. Anthony writes, how would you describe your personality at training and on field?
That's a good question. Yeah, I've probably talked about it too much, but the competitiveness, but also the friendliness. I think I've got a really good balance of being friendly and having a really good personality outside of football to keep relationships. Like I've got mates who don't even play footy, mates who, play other sports. Like I've got a really good friend group outside of football, and I've got a lot of mates outside of football. I don't really have, there's not many people that I know that I'm not, mates with. So yeah, quite friendly.
Okay, so I did get about literally 30 other messages of, can you fake an injury to get to Essendon? But but that was more just trying to get. So look, thanks so much for joining us. I can't thank you enough for giving us time. Look, obviously the combine's happened, so you've got a nice little, hopefully a little break after a long year, but look, it's been an absolute privilege to watch you play and now to catch up with you online and have that chat. So look, I truly wish you all the best. You know where my heart is, or where but no matter what, wherever you go, I'm really keen to see how you go, because I think you're going to really shape things in the AFL. I think I really love your game. I love how you go at your mindset. It's right up my alley. So all the best, man. And thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome back to the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast, Scotty. That was a gun interview, mate. Again, really well done. Another chat with one of the best footballers in the country at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it was so. We talked on Zoom so we could see face to face, and you could just tell, you just gave that whole vibe of just being just a really great guy, but great family. You can just tell. I know I don't know them, but you could just tell just the character he has, the competitiveness he has. He's going to go places, and no matter what happens to him, it'll be exciting for the game to have a player of that talent. So, look, just quickly before we close, myself and Ed Pascoe are going to do a Patreon show.
Good Lord, we love Ed.
Probably in the next week or so. So that's for our Patreons. We've done a whole massive draft series. You can go Willem Dersma, all these shows. If you want to go to our Patreon site, how do you go to our Patreon site, Grant?
Mate, you go to that Patreon site by putting in patreon.com/lunchtime catch up. It's $5.50 a month. And
you'll see so many shows on the drafts. We've got so many experts. I've got, like I said, Ed Pascoe lined up. We're going to talk about our top 20 draft picks. We're going to talk about a little bit about the trade period and the draft picks now that we've got left and what we could do. I know I've got a bit later on in a couple of weeks, people who know Dylan Alexander, well, on YouTube, who does a lot of draft specialist stuff. He's going to be a guest also coming up. So some really good stuff coming up. So thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. Big day for the club. Let's see how it all goes.
And again, this is the thing. It's a big day, right or wrong. right or wrong, there's negatives.
I'm nervous, but yes, but
there's positives to it. So look, mate, one thing we really do need to do is, now that Welshie has made his decision, right? And it's an understandable decision, but now that Welshie has made his decision, back him. Right? We'll back him. We got to back him. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then he'll be held accountable when it doesn't, right? But until then, back him. And one thing we do know is that Zach will be professional first bounce next year. And he will move on from the captaincy, and he can play across half forward, kick us some goals, get us some possessions, and we'll just move the hell on.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, we've got a friend in Kane Corns all of a sudden. He tweeted the club that basically full respect. So he thought we did the right thing. So who knows? There'll be a lot of different opinions on this one. So
I agree.
So look, thank you everyone. Talk soon, and obviously with the draft coming up, we'll do some shows on that. But for us, this is the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast, signing out.
See you guys.